Alright, welcome to the show today. I want to talk about cap space specifically. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, check out the trade rules videos. If you want to learn about exemptions, if you want to learn about how teams can go over the salary cap, what specific types of contracts people can sign or make trades for to actually go over the cap, and learn about luxury tax, that is in my trade rules video. Check that out if you're interested, but you don't necessarily need to leave if you want to know about cap space and what exactly it is, and a couple of the terms that are involved in cap space that I didn't know. I would hear people say, or I'd look at charts and I'm like, I don't know what this means. I have no idea what these terms mean. I'm going to go into those today. So if you want to know cap space terminology, this is the video for you. Let's talk about cap space. What is cap space specifically? It is the amount your payroll is subtracted by the total salary cap. It's basically the money that you have to sign free agents, specifically to sign players that are no longer under contract. The difference between the amount that you have not gone over the cap is your cap space. What is the luxury tax threshold? Kind of confusing. They're based on math equations. I'm going to go into all these, but they're all based on different math equations based on different factors. Most of it is just the amount of money that the NBA teams were making, and the tax threshold this year is 149 million. So what does that mean? I thought the salary cap was 122 million this year. It is, but you do not start paying luxury tax until you hit 149 million. Isn't that kind of interesting? So you can go over the cap. How do you go over the cap? There's a salary cap. How can you spend more money than the amount that is capped? Well, the exemptions. I'm not going into those today. Check out the trade rules video like I mentioned before. But once you hit 149 million, now you are actually paying money. You are paying the tax. And another thing I want to bring up, I'm not going to go into in this video, but the more years you go over the luxury tax and you go over the salary cap, the more money you have to pay exponentially. It starts multiplying, and then also the amount you go over and the years you've gone over add up into the luxury tax. At the end of this video, I'm going to talk about the team that has the most luxury tax right now. What is basketball related income? Why would you care about what basketball related income is? And basketball related income is just all the money for an organization, all of its operations that end up making revenue, make money for the team. Why does it matter about salary cap? Well, that dictates how much the salary cap can go up every year. So players want the money to go up so that the salary cap can be raised and ultimately they can make more money. How do you know what a basketball operation is? How do you know if a basketball operation made money? Well, there are auditors, and there is a 35-page definition of what a basketball operation is that could possibly make money. Check it out. I don't know. I don't even know where you could find it. Tax apron. What is the tax apron? Kind of a weird apron. What is that? I don't really get why they use that word. Maybe you can find out. Maybe you can leave a comment why they use the word apron, but the tax apron is a little bit different. So remember, the $122 million is the salary cap. $149 million is when you start actually paying luxury tax. The apron is $155 million. What is the apron? After $155 million, you can no longer use exemptions. You can no longer use salary cap exemptions. There's a bunch of different exemptions. There's like a vet minimum. That's one you probably hear about a lot, which is basically you can sign a guy for like, I think $7 million. It depends how many years he's been in the league and go over the cap. I think you can do it with like 2 players or something like that. There's your bird rights. There's a trade. You can do a sign and trade for another guy's bird rights. There's different ways you can go over the cap. Once you hit 155 million this year, you can't do any exemptions. You can't pull any strings. You can't finesse more money. You are now at 155 million. You can no longer sign any players for anything, for any reason. There are no exemptions once you're at 155 million. That is the apron. Take a guy like Steve Ballmer. He's worth $100 billion. It doesn't really matter. He can go into luxury tax. It doesn't matter. $100 billion is so much money that he can do whatever he wants and it won't really affect him. And that's not really fair. What is a stretch provision and what is dead cap? I always was wondering that. Like, what is dead cap? That sounds scary. Dead cap is when you cut a player. You know, in football, you have waivers, right? All contracts are unguaranteed money, so you're not guaranteed that money. But in the NBA, all the contracts are guaranteed because I guess they have better lawyers. I'm not exactly sure. Dead cap is when you've waived a player. You said, hey, you know what? You can't be on the team anymore. You're not good, and we want a roster spot. You still have to pay that guy. All of that money is guaranteed, but you say, you know what? We're going to stretch out your money over the course of a couple years. We're going to pay you over the course of 4 years, and that way we can still use money against our salary cap this year. Maybe you have a really good team, and you're like, man, but we're paying this guy $20 million this year, and we waived him. So we waived a guy that we still owe $20 million, and that counts against our cap. What you can do is you can stretch that $20 million over 5 years. Not bad. So stretch it over 5 years, pay him $4 million a year. I think that math's right. It only counts $4 million against your cap, but then you kind of get in this weird situation where you're paying guys years after they've left your team. It's kind of embarrassing, but it can be done, basically to give you more flexibility in your cap space. Let's take an example. Luol Deng. Luol Deng was getting paid by the Lakers until last year, the 21-22 season. Hadn't played for the Lakers since 2018. He was kept getting paid because he got waived by the Lakers because they wanted a roster spot. Then he went and signed with the Timberwolves. He took like a $7.5 million negotiation to get waived by the Lakers, right? But he was still getting paid lots of money by the Lakers, and he even signed a new contract with the Timberwolves. Pretty cool for Luol Deng, not even being in the league for 2 years on a team that wasn't the last team that he played for. Luol Deng finessed the heck out of the Lakers, which sucks because I'm a Laker fan, but I'm also a Luol Deng fan, so I don't really care. All right, which team has the most luxury tax? The Golden State Warriors, which kind of sucks because they did win, so it's almost like they're the Yankees, you know? They're spending the most money, they have the most money, but they don't have the most money. Joe Lacob is like a 1.2 billionaire. I think that's the amount of money he actually has. Yep, 1.2 billion. For instance, Steve Ballmer, 100 million. So Steve Ballmer has 100 times the amount of money that Joe Lacob has. So, you know, Joe Lacob is just really investing in his Golden State Warriors, and I respect that. I think that's really cool because the Warriors, let's take a look, their salary this year is $177 million on the books. That's a lot, and they're paying $74 million in luxury tax. That is a ton. The next team with the most luxury tax is, of course, the Clippers with $44 million, and that's Steve Ballmer's team, the richest NBA owner. So that's pretty interesting. I hope you liked this video. I hope that you learned a little bit more about cap space and how it works and how the salary cap works. Be good to your mothers. Eat a hot dog. Let's talk about trades. Follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram. Goodbye. That's it.